In this video, we'll show you the complete rundown of how to install the Platipus B4 utility 2-meter anchor using an excavator. Unpacking the gear, you'll find the B4 utility anchors with a 2-meter tendon and turnbuckle, a drive end, rod sections, a sacrificial end, a shank adapter, the rod remover, an SJ2 hydraulic load locking unit, and a test sheet for recording the loads achieved. You will also need the following customer supplied items: a hydraulic power source for powering the SJ2 hydraulic load locking unit. This is usually from a truck mounted with a suitable hydraulic pump, or alternatively a hydraulic power pack which you can hire from Cirtex. A tape measure for recording the extension achieved. Note that extension refers to the distance the tendon extends out during the load locking phase. This will be covered off in more detail later in the video. Spray paint, ear protection, safety glasses, gloves, a clipboard and a pen, and a grease gun for lubricating the drive rod ends. Let's get started with the installation process. Before driving the anchors, always check for surfaces that might be buried below the surface. The next step is to assemble a drive rod set. When connecting the drive rods, clean and lubricate the threads with grease as you go, and note these drive rods have a left-hand thread. Firstly, connect the drive end to a single drive rod section. Connect a sacrificial end to the other end. Once assembled, all sections should be hand tight. Slip a shank adapter onto the end and carefully guide the concrete breaker pick into the shank adapter. The excavator operator can then activate the breaker and drive the anchor into the soil at the specified angle. Stop once only the sacrificial end is showing. Likewise, the eye of the anchor should be within a few hundred millimeters of the soil surface. Remove the sacrificial end, fit the rod remover, connect the rod remover to the excavator boom using a D-shackle. Sometimes a chain may be needed. The excavator operator can then use the boom to pull the rod section from the soil. Now the anchor has been installed, we can move on to the load locking process. Before we begin, it is important to understand that the SJ2 load locking unit is rated to 35 kN. Because of this, you will need to understand the anchor design load required before you start. If you are unsure, contact your local Cirtex representative for advice. Place the SJ2 hydraulic load locking unit over the anchor, pulling the turnbuckle through the back of the unit. Lock the hydraulic jack at a similar angle to what the anchor was driven in at. Then lock the eye of the anchor to the hydraulic jack using the second locking pin. Connect the hydraulic hoses to the SJ2. It is a good idea to monitor and record the results from the load gauge as you go. Press down on the lever to activate the hydraulic jack. Once you reach the top of the hydraulic jack, we recommend recording the load showing on the gauge. Then reset it by removing the locking pin, lowering the hydraulic jack by lifting the lever, reconnecting the eye to the jack, and repeating the load locking process by pressing the lever down. Now that your anchor has been installed, you can disconnect the anchor from the SJ2 and put it into action.